Hey everyone, welcome to episode 131 of BrewTalk with Mr.Beer. My name is Robert Lewis. I'll be your host once again for today's show. Filming different location out this week. I got my headphones in. Hopefully the echo will not be too bad and you guys can understand me okay, but I do apologize for any sound issues that we may have. I was going to shoot it outside, but we're flying a bunch of airplanes around, so it's a little noisy, so moved it inside. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time to watch our weekly episodes. If you want to reference our notes for this video, any of our past videos, you can find those on our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog. You can filter by BrewTalk episode there, which is what we call these, or you can just search your question and see what all kinds of stuff comes up. All right, so today's topic should be a quick and easy one, but I thought it was relevant since we're coming up into fall. So today's topic is how to brew beer with spices. Spicy beer, not like spicy beer like chili beer, but spiced beer like adding allspice or coriander and stuff like that is very popular usually during the fall and the winter time to kind of add some wonderful, majestic winter flavors to your beer. So a little fun fact for you here. Long before hops were ever used, many different spices were used in beer brewing for bittering and flavor. They think that brewing beer without hops is a lot older than brewing beer with hops. And before the hops, they were using all kinds of different spices to add different beer to this. So we got 4 little topics here we'll dive into. So spiced beer styles is actually a recognized as a key ingredient in beer. Why spices are still, a supplementary ingredient and used in a variety of styles to enhance the beer's flavor. Beer styles where spices are frequently used to enhance flavor include like Belgian style beers, wit beers, saisons, holiday ales like I mentioned earlier, such as some winter warmers, some pumpkin beers, porters, stouts, Scandinavian ales, and Norwegian farmhouse ales are kind of the common styles. You'll see these in most. When I think of beer spices, I think of like pumpkin flavored beers and like of winter seasonal beers, spiced ciders, spiced meads, you see that a lot, and also spiced, winter warmers that keep you nice and warm during those cold months. How much spice to add? So regardless of the style, spices should be used sparingly so they don't overwhelm the rest of the beer. You want a beer that still tastes otherwise to style, so like beer, and spices can be easily overdone, so it's important to make sure you're not overusing it. I think most of our recipes are either a teaspoon, sometimes a tablespoon, and that's at most for the entire batch of beer, not like per bottle because you're getting wild with that. You can use a single spice or you can use a blend of spices. Testing your spices. So before you want to add the spices to your beer, it can help by prepping them in like a tea with the spices first. That way you can experiment with different blends, different strengths to kind of get the right flavor, balance, and aromas for your beer. This can save you time from like overspicing or underspicing your beer when it comes to the process. I mean, if you're brewing any one of our recipes, we've done this testing already. So we've already got those spice ratios dialed in for you. But if you want to create your own custom recipe, that is the way to do it. When to add spices. Spices can be added in different parts of the brewing process depending on obviously what you're using and what results you're trying to achieve. Some spices will contribute more flavor in the boil. This is also the best time to place like root-based spices since they are dense and may need to boil for proper flavor extraction. Lighter herbs such as flowers or leaves can be added to the secondary fermentation kind of 1 to 2 weeks before bottling. Sanitizing spices is very important. So when adding them to the boil, sanitizing spices is not required. So if you're throwing them up in your boil when your water's warm, it's going to sanitize anything in there. But when you're adding them later in secondary, like we mentioned, so if you're doing flowers or leaves or even like some late zest or peels, stuff like that. We're talking about fruit, not really spices, but same thing, in my opinion. When adding them to the secondary, they may need to be covered or soaked in like vodka or another grain alcohol like Everclear to sanitize them. And adding just enough to cover them works. So if you've added any extras in any of our recipes, we tell you, to get, and depending on the recipe, you can use like cognac or some people use whiskey. Vodka doesn't have any flavor, so you're just getting the flavor of the spices in there. But basically, you'll put them in like a little mason jar, fill it up with just enough vodka to cover them up and just let them sit. And then when you're going to add them into your beer, you just dump the whole thing in there, including the vodka. So it'll kick up that ABV a little bit, give you a little bit of strength. So when adding spices, careful with what you're doing. Don't add too many. Try to do a tea first to test it. If you're brewing any one of our recipes, just follow the instructions. We've already done the testing for you. If you are creating your own, if you got any questions, just send us a note to customer service. We can help you find the best spice for you, and make sure you're sanitizing them. Either add them to your boil or soak them in some vodka, and you should be all good to go. It's going to wrap it up for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like or comment on the video so we know. If you want to learn more about Mr. Beer, brewing with Mr. Beer, join our Facebook group, Mr. Beer's Brewing Society. You can find that just by searching Mr. Beer's Brewing Society on Facebook. And keep an eye on your inboxes. Again, we got a spooky, spectacular Halloween sale coming up this weekend. Hope you guys have a great week, and we will talk to you guys next week. Cheers.